Peace of God be with you, and welcome to the Dimmitt Show today. I took meticulous notes. One of the problems I have, if you see the notes, is a love of fountain pens. I have never seen a fountain pen that I would not buy. I just like the way they work. But getting ink in the pen is beyond my pay grade. So consequently, my notes, even though these notes were taken with a very expensive fountain pen, I can't read them. And the doctor says, your eyesight, Dimmitt, that's elective surgery. I said, I'm blind. Look at my eyes. They're glowing, man. He goes, yes, we'll get around to that in June. Well, in the meantime, the person that helps me figure out where things are, they're not here today. So, I was kind of perplexed because I wanted to answer the comments because I like to have an interaction with the audience. That's really important to me. So I have to rely on those comments. And if I can't read the bloody comments, then I can't comment on them. But I will comment on one thing. I have a nephew. He is connected with my sister Helen. Helen was his mother. She just recently passed away, leaving me the last member of the family, except for a cousin and a few nieces and nephews that I've never met, and great nieces, great nephews. Never met them. And I noticed that Jim had written a comment, and following in the footsteps of his Uncle Jer, he was driving a bus, and I drove a bus. I could even drive an RV, a motorhome, big one. Just honk the horn a lot and say, should we have those brakes checked? And by the way, which one of these pedals is the brake pedal? I was always using my inquiring mind. But Jim's a stand-up comedian and a very good one. And so I think we have so much in common. Unlike my cousin Larry, who's a Nazi collaborator. Is it collaborator? Anyway, forget that. My cousin and I are not friendly anymore. I don't have friends that are right-wing. Speaking about that, we have a Republican representative here in town. She wrote me a letter. Is she mentally balanced? No, I haven't answered that yet. Maybe I'll do a video about that. But I wanted to show you some of the tools that I use in talk radio to maintain an audience. It's important to maintain the audience. I was going to tell you, too, about my experiences with stand-up comedy, because like my nephew, I also tried stand-up comedy, but it was when I was in Seattle and I was trying to do a talk show, and all of you remember that unfortunate incident of mistaking the airport in Scappoose for a Safeway market, the car spinning around the airplane with a broken thing, and a wing fell down, a lady with that Chihuahua dog. Oh, I don't want to go over all that. Bad memory. So I didn't like flying, needless to say, and I was trying to take the train, and then after I got on stage and started my brilliant comedy act, I'm telling you, Jim, if you're listening, it was a brilliant comedy act. I found the audience was really getting into it, except they were laughing where there were no jokes. But where there were jokes, they were just glaring at me. So that was a nightmare of an experience. And I finally said, this isn't worth it because I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. I can't continue to do all of this travel and everything. So I stopped. I was doing something else. I can't even remember what it was. So what did I do to stay calm? And again, people say that Dimmitt is mentally unstable, mentally unbalanced. I cannot have a pet. I mean, I went out in the yard, tried to make pets with a rat, or it was a possum. Could have been a yak. I don't know. I can't tell one animal for the other because I remember the cataracts. All right, calm down. This calms me down. This is the only pet that I'm allowed to have. And he or she, I think that's undetermined, does sleep with me. And I know that people say this is weird and strange, but you don't know what goes on in the mind of a professional talk show host. We have different perspectives than most of you. Speaking of perspective, can we edit that? Oh, there's no one here to do it. Blast it! All right. Forgetting, now here, I'm going to put you down, okay? She's been very helpful. She's not like some of the other things. I tried to attract a possum or a rabbit or a rat. I wasn't sure what it was. And it just snarled at me, sort of like the dog I have that detached. So that depressed me. And then there was this long thing like a rope, dropped out of the tree with a licky tongue. I said, "Hi, little buddy. I want a pet. You would be really neat." And it glared at me, wiggled his tongue, and said, "Yes, I would like to hug you." Well, I don't want to get too friendly with this animal that I really don't know. And this rope thing, wanting to come out of the tree. And that reminds me, I was going to mention one of the more exciting things that happened this week in the news. Stay on topic, Dimmick. Yes, that's important. And that was the head of the Navy goes to that aircraft carrier, which, by the way, had 5,000 sailors sick on it. And the captain tried to save him. Trump fired him. Then the head of the Navy comes. Did you believe they have an auditorium on that bloody ship that holds 5,000 sailors? My gosh. How big is that ship? It's like Portland International Airport on the water. And he's got a sick crew. The captain writes a letter. He's fired. The head of the Navy comes in to speak with the crew and tell them why their captain was a jerk. You could have heard a pin drop. And suddenly, at a loud yell, somebody says, "F you!" God bless them. And then things went downhill from there. Well, that's a big mess, and we'll cover that in a later video. So what do I do when people mock me because of having the only pet I'm allowed to have? Because I want a dog so bad I could scream. I would love a Siberian Husky. I would love to have a little pit bull, but I have to have an old one because I'm not going to live that long. So I've got to have an old dog. So anyway, put that down there. But I looked even for a cat. The Humane Society is closed. They still want to charge $250 for a 7 or 8 year old dog. I guess if they don't get the money, it's just easier to off them. I don't understand it. I guess they figure if you don't have all that money, you probably can't take care of the animal. I don't know. It's a mystery to me. I think they should open the doors and say anyone that wants a dog, anyone that wants a cat, any old person that's alone, my God, you need an animal, and we'll give you an animal. That's what we should do. And then they want us to give them they want us to contribute money to them. Why? Only rich people can have dogs and cats? I have an answer for that too, and I use it on the talk radio show often. It's right here. This is a voodoo doll, and this is a knife. It was particularly good in television, because when somebody said, "Damn it, you are a jerk and you don't know what you're talking about," I would use it. And I would just sit here looking so calm as I plunged the knife through the chest of the voodoo doll. And when I could see, when I wasn't blind, it gave me satisfaction. See, I abuse the beauty doll. Makes people think twice before they mess with me. I know you're saying this guy's videos are going straight downhill. This is what happens when an old man who's without companionship, all he wants is a dog. He would settle for a cat. He wanders around outside looking for a stray cat. People were talking about stray cats, but I can never find them. Anyway, I think I've run out of things to say, and this was going to be a 5-minute video. Peace with God be with you. Peace and good day.